two of the chunkiest shoes on the market. Which one is the better max cushion option for you? Today, we're comparing the Gel Nimbus 27 with the More V6. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. Today, like I said, we're reviewing the Nimbus versus the More, and if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this review, but if you do so, I would sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full thing when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. And if you've been a viewer for a while, but you haven't hit that subscribe button for some reason, please consider doing so today and turning on notifications to get notified every time I drop a new video, which is typically Monday through Friday. Now, quick plug, I am actively raising money for the Tokyo Marathon. I'm going through the charity route. I actually have already reserved my spot through the charity, and I am actively trying to raise those funds. I need to raise $3,000. I committed $4,000, but I'm donating $1,000 at least of my own dollars towards the cause as well. Now, if you'd like to donate, you're willing and able, please consider using the GoFundMe link in the description below. But if you're looking for something in return, I get it, right? So please consider using any of the affiliate links in the description below, as any commissions will also be going towards charity. We have fuel goods, which is where you can get some good running fuel, gels, electrolytes, pre-workout, post-workout drinks, or if you want some Wallaco half tights, which I know a lot of people have wanted to try, but they're kind of pricey. So if you want 20% off, use RADDAD20, you get 20% off. I get a commission that I'm donating towards charity. So it's all going towards a good cause. Now, quick disclaimers and disclosures are that I did receive both of these shoes for free for the purpose of review directly from their respective brands. That being said, I'm not giving talk tracks, talking points. No one watches the videos beforehand. No one, I'm not paid for any reviews. All thoughts are entirely my own. With that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of these shoes. Now, I think it's pretty obvious, but both of these are recovery day options, right? Max cushion, like true max cushion, unlike a lot of the max cushion nowadays, which is just supercritical foams and super high stacks and super responsive. Like, these are some of the premier just recovery easy day options out there. As such, that's how we're going to be comparing them and talking about them today. Now, from a price standpoint, the Gel Nimbus comes in at $165, which is right around where the market is at, if not a little bit lower, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Gel Nimbus 28 go up a little bit to at least $170, but for now, $165. The More, on the other hand, comes in at a very affordable $155, right? So way below where the market is at, right? $10 below underneath, or yeah, $10 less than the Gel Nimbus, but also, in some instances, $20+ less than other competitors in this space. So really, it's not a budget option, but it's a very budget affordable option out there. And what I mean by that is you're not sacrificing any technology in this shoe. They're just choosing to price it at a lower price point overall. Now, from a specs perspective, the Gel Nimbus comes in at 10.7 ounces, which is 305 grams, and the More comes in at 11 ounces, which is 312. So they're close. The Gel Nimbus is a little bit lighter overall, though. From a stack standpoint, the Gel Nimbus comes in at 43.5 in the heel, 35.5 in the forefoot for an 8mm drop, and the More comes in at 42 in the heel, 38 in the forefoot for a 4mm drop. So you're going to get a little bit more aggressive drop in the Nimbus, while you're going to get a lower overall drop in the More. Now, from a fit perspective, both of the shoes fit true to size lengthwise. The Nimbus, I would say, fits, it's wide foot friendly for sure, but I think it fits a little bit closer to a standard midfoot overall, right? But you still have a wide heel, wide toe box. The More, on the other hand, is just straight wide. So again, still both true to size. The More is going to be a little bit, or not even a little bit, it's going to be wider overall throughout the entirety of the shoe, especially in that midfoot area. Now, from an upper perspective, the Gel Nimbus has an engineered jacquard mesh, right? And I wasn't a huge fan of the booty style upper for the Gel Nimbus line in the past, but this version I actually really like, because I think it's a little bit more standard upper-ish, and then you still get a booty feeling, or a knit tongue that's going to give you a little bit more of that flexibility. So the upper is really comfortable for me. You get really good lockdown. You have some pretty heavy cushion there in the heel, which is nice because it keeps your heel locked in place despite being a wider overall fit. And the lockdown of the shoe is just really nice for the most part. The upper is not breathable, but between the two, the Gel Nimbus is going to be a lot more breathable than the More. The More is very, very warm overall. You know, shifting over to the More has an engineered mesh upper. You get a lot of cushion there in the heel as well. I think the Gel Nimbus technically has more cushion though. And then you have a nice plush tongue while you have the knit tongue right in the Gel Nimbus. Now the tongue in the More is gusseted. You also can get really good lockdown despite the wide overall fit in the More. But between these two, I feel like the Nimbus is going to be a little bit more streamlined of an upper. It's going to be a little bit more breathable of an upper. It's definitely not minimal. It's still a max cushion upper. It's still going to be warm, but the More is very, very warm on foot. Both of them, though, you can get some really good lockdown in. Both of them are very comfortable plush uppers. Now, moving to the midsoles, you have the FreshFoam Eco in the Gel Nimbus 27, and then the gel disc in the heel. And then with the More V6, you have that FreshFoam X throughout the entirety of the shoe. Now between the two, the FreshFoam X is going to be a lot softer underfoot. For me, from a max cushion perspective, I would say that the Gel Nimbus is on the firmer overall side. I feel like it's second to, you know, probably like the Cloud Surfer Max is probably the firmest of them. Gel Nimbus is maybe second though in terms of firmness of max cushion shoes, right? Max cushion recovery day shoes, I should say. The FreshFoam X might be the softest and squishiest of them all. So the sensations underfoot are going to be exactly that. You're going to be soft yet supportive in the Gel Nimbus, and you're going to be kind of squishy and plush with the FreshFoam X. As far as how they translate, you know, rolling through the foot, well, the Gel Nimbus is lighter overall. It's going to feel a little bit more nimble. It has an 8mm drop. It's going to get you on your toes a little bit more. But I actually think that the FreshFoam X is a little bit more responsive, but it's also squishier, so it, you know, you're not going to come off the ground or pop off the ground. It's just got a nice toe off in the shoe. So, you know, I almost wish that the FreshFoam X was a little firmer and that the, you know, FreshFoam Plus Eco was a little bit softer, right? Somewhere in between would probably be my ideal, but this ultimately will come down to preference of midsole foams, right? From a stability standpoint, both shoes are very, very stable, right? Both have a lot of foam, you know, and both have really wide bases. If you are running in the More though, and you find that your feet are maybe overworking because it's too soft, it's too squishy, then, you know, you might want something like the Gel Nimbus. Between the two though, you know, pace versatility wise, honestly, they're about the same. I really wouldn't do anything more than like easy miles in either of them. I would not take them up to tempo. It's just not going to be really what they're best served for. But for the most part, both are really, really comfortable. And as far as, you know, the midsole experience of the Gel Nimbus, I feel like it is an upgrade over the last year, over the 26. I do feel like it is a little bit softer, a little bit more responsive, though not a responsive foam. Now from an outsole perspective, you've got Asics grip and then just a durable rubber on the More V6. Asics grip can be hit and miss, hit or miss, I should say. You know, Asics grip on, for example, the novablast is notoriously pretty slippery. I always say it, but I have not had issues with Asics grip personally, right? I have not had issues with the Harlow rubbers that Asics uses or anything like that. So for the most part, like I think it's, you know, I think it gets the job done. I also don't live somewhere where it's super, super rainy, but I do live somewhere where it snows half the year. So even like in the Gel Nimbus, I ran in the snow in these multiple times. I didn't slip around. I don't have any issues. I do think that the More V6 rubber is going to be a little bit more durable, is going to be a little bit better grip overall, but for the most part, I think that they're good. I normally just don't have a lot to say about the outsoles unless they are actively like very, very grippy or actively very, very slippery. Both of these are just kind of middle tier outsoles, nothing to really write home about. So getting the job done. Now, as far as my pick between the two, this is the type of max cushion that I just am not a huge fan of to begin with, right? Like both of these are really like, they're not very bouncy. They're not super responsive. I was pleasantly surprised by both of them. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy my miles in both of them, but if I was building my ideal shoe rotation, they're not the types of shoes that I would include in my rotation. So for that reason, I'm not going to give a preference between the two. They're pretty equal for me. I think it just comes down to your overall preference and needs. If you are someone who is going to be wearing these for travel as well, I would lean towards the FreshFoam X More V6 just because the lower drop is going to be a little bit more accommodating for standing and walking versus the 8mm drop. It's just a little bit high if you're going to be walking around. It's potentially better for running, depending on your preference still, right? I really like an 8mm drop when running, but for standing around, Gel Nimbus is not a shoe I would recommend for like casual use necessarily, where the More, I think you could get away with it for that. So, but pace versatility wise, they're pretty much equal. You know, I like the foam in the Nimbus better, but I like the drop in the I like the drop or the geometry of the More better. I like the upper of the Gel Nimbus better, but I think the upper in the More is more comfortable. So like they are pretty level, pretty equal for me overall. Again, comes down to preference, comes down to what sensation you want underfoot and what you're really looking for there. So just some final thoughts. You know, max cushion, it's come a long way. I'm more open to it this year than I have been in the past. I think last year I barely reviewed any max cushion shoes just because it wasn't really something I really enjoy. But this year, having made some, you know, connections with brands, wanting to try out more and more shoes, be able to review more and more for you guys, you know, I was a little bit more open to it. And for the most part, I would say, again, I haven't worn a max cushion shoe this year that I actively disliked. So, yeah, so I mean, I think that tells you something. I think that speaks more to the overall direction of running shoes in general. So if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about this comparison, what other comparisons you'd like to see, and what I could be doing better to make these reviews even more interesting, entertaining, and educational for each and every one of you. Again, quick plug, please consider donating to the Sports Legacy Foundation too through the donation link in my in the description below, the GoFundMe in the description below. Anything helps, really, like even $5 goes a long way, so please consider doing that if you are willing and able. And lastly, I'll leave you with a question, which is, what is your favorite category of running shoe? Are you someone who really likes max cushion easy day shoes, or are you more of a lightweight trainer guy? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.